Hi, this is Joe again with another review. I know that I'm doing this the same day as I just did a review of King Kong, so I'm going to do this on the same day. But fortunately, I'm not doing a horror movie this time because I pretty much did all the movies I wanted to do, for Halloween. So this time I'm going to do about a series of movies, or 3 movies, that aired during the early 80s, called cross-dressing films. When I mean cross-dressing films, I mean films that have the main actor, the main character, gets dressed up or cross-dresses as a man or cross-dresses as a woman to, make money or do something. And in the early 80s, they had 3 films. That's all I'm talking about is 3 films that they did this in. And the first one came out in 1982, called Victor Victoria, starring Julie Andrews and Robert Preston. And I haven't really seen that movie, but I know about it. And it stars Julie Andrews as actually, of course, she's a woman who dresses up as a man to impersonate a woman. This is even more bizarre because she couldn't get a job because she was a woman. So what she did was she got dressed up as a man, disguised herself as a man, and she gets onto a show which has men impersonating women. Of course, dressing as women just for this show, kind of like the Cause Your Fall, where you have men dressed up as women. Pretty much the same premise, but it's not the Cause Your Fall. It's Victoria with Julie Andrews. So it's pretty much Victor Victoria. The second film that came out the same year, 1982, was Tootise. And I do have the DVD of Tootsie, but I don't have it with me here to show the video of. And Tootsie is definitely one of the best one out of the 3. And it stars Dustin Hoffman, Jessica Lange, Bill Murray, one of his early film roles. And you had Dominic Coleman. Plus, you also have the very first movie role of Gina Davis. As a matter of fact, the very first time you see Gina Davis in a movie, not just in Tootsie, but in all films altogether. But you see her in a bra and panties, which is not bad, especially in those days when you see Gina Davis in a bra and panties, which is not bad. And because Dustin Hoffman plays, before I get to that part, Dustin Hoffman plays an out-of-work actor who can't get a job because he's too demanding. Because he's always nitpicks because he wants to get his role right. And he's always nitpicking on stuff. So his agent says, we're played by the actual director of the film, Sidney Pollack, says no one will hire you. So what he decides to do is he dresses up as a woman and gets a part on a soap opera. And of course, he does this because he wants to raise $5,000 to do or to put up a play that was written by his roommate, who was played by Bill Murray. And of course, the hijinks starts when he falls in love with Jessica Lange's character, who plays the lead woman character, and Gene Davis plays another nurse on the show. That's when Gene Davis comes in. And Danny Coleman plays the director of the series, and another co-star, the main doctor, falls in love with Dustin Hoffman, so you have that going on. And Jessica Lange's father, played by Charles Durney, also fell in love with Dustin Hoffman's character. So you have 2 guys fighting for it, and you have Dustin Hoffman in love with Jessica Lange's character. So you have all these little confusion stuff going on. And after Jessica Lange thought that he was a lesbian, or the woman character that Dustin Hoffman plays, Dorothy Michaels, was gay, which he wasn't. And he was proposed by one guy, or Jessica Lange's father. And he had another guy who worked on the show, really with flowers and candy, really overdoes it. And so Dustin Hoffman says, okay, I have the $5,000. Now I raised $5,000. Now I want to get out. I want to get out of the show. And then the show wouldn't let him out. Because we knew the contract. Because he got so many letters, fan letters, that the show decided to keep him on for another year. So Dustin Hoffman wants out. I want to get out. I want out of the show. Because I don't want to be a woman for the rest of my life. I want to go back to being who I was. And he says, oh, you can't do that. So it's one of your options. It's their option. They decide to do it. So Dustin Hoffman decides, on live television, because there was a part of a tape for the next day's show, they got ruined. So they had to do that scene live on television. So because it was live, at the last minute thing, Dustin Hoffman reveals himself to be a guy. And of course he gets thrown off the show immediately because he did fraud. And of course he does the show instead, does his roommate's show or play. And of course he makes up with basically his father. And his father want to know if you really do like girls. He's like, yeah, I like girls. I like Julie. I think I'm in love with Julie. And he says, oh, wearing the dresses and finally to show it. And he says, how come? And George Julie want to know how come you did it for? And he says, because I needed the job. I needed the money. I needed the work. And I couldn't get work. So I dressed up as a woman and I got the job. That's all basically what it was. It never meant to hurt anybody. Then of course at the end of the movie, he meets Jessica Lange outside the studio and explains to her why he did it, and that he needed the money, and he couldn't get a job for like 2 or 3 years. He couldn't get a job, so that's why he did it. And no one would hire him because it was a pain in the neck. So now all of a sudden, people wanted him for jobs. And that's basically how, in the show, Jessica Lange and Dustin Hoffman walked over into the sunset, and that's how the movie ended. Well, the third film, cross-dressing film, in 1983, was called Yentl. It starred Barbra Streisand, Mandy Patinkin, Amy Irving. You might recognize, if you're a Law and Order fan, Stephen Hill, who of course played the original head of Manhattan, who was the original Manhattan DA, or the head of the head district attorney in Manhattan County of Law and Order, playing Amy Irving's father. Now, for Yentl, for those of you who don't know the movie, unless you're going to be a diehard Barbra Streisand fan, Yentl is basically a story of Barbra Streisand, who wanted to study the Talmud, which is the Jewish law, and the Jewish way of studying, and the Jewish laws and everything else, and the Jewish way of studying and learning. But unfortunately, she couldn't do so because she was a woman, and she was a girl, so she couldn't study in the yeshivas. And so when her father dies, pretty early on in the film, when he dies, she decides, instead of living her Jewish life, because she knew that no one was going to teach her anymore, her father taught her. So she decides to disguise herself as a man, go out to the world, and try and get into a yeshiva to study the Talmud, and to keep studying the Talmud. So she meets up with Mandy Patinkin, who was a student, and another student. And we go to this yeshiva in Bershev, who a rabbi is the best one. And so maybe we can get you in. And she thinks it over, so okay, do it. And so of course she passes the rabbi's test and gets admitted. So the rest of the film, basically what it is in the rest of the film, until of course where she meets Amy Irving's character, who is supposed to be Mandy Patinkin's fiance, and the two of them are supposed to get married, and Amy Irving's father finds out something about Mandy Patinkin's brother, who died. He killed himself, committed suicide. So the father figures I don't want my daughter to be married to a family like that, because if one relative dies of suicide, the whole family's no good. So he says, "Oh, there's an old wives' tale. If I didn't care with an old wives' tale, my daughter's not getting married to him." And so, of course, eventually they figured, "Oh, that Barbra Streisand married Amy Irving," because everybody believes that Barbra Streisand was a guy. So they get married. Amy Irving and Barbra Streisand do get married. They do have this whole wedding scene. And of course, he doesn't want to have sex with her. Naturally, because Barbra Streisand allows him to have sex for the wedding night. Or any other night after that. Because of, naturally, they're two women. Right? And so eventually, when Amy Irving's character was ready to have sex with Barbra Streisand, Barbra Streisand backs off, so they're just about to have a lip lock, a major lesbian lip lock almost. Barbra Streisand broke it off. She said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, so sorry, I can't do it." You know. And then Barbra Streisand decides to reveal who she is to Mandy Patinkin's character. So they go away for a couple of days, or a weekend or something, and she reveals herself to Mandy Patinkin's character, and he goes nuts because he believes in what everyone else believes. All the Jews believe that. And so you can't teach a woman anything because women have their roles and men have their roles, and you can't do that. You're a demon if you study. A woman's a demon if they study the Talmud. That's where their beliefs. I think that maybe they have that belief today, especially the more religious Jews. Maybe the Hasidic Jews have that belief as well. Still, to this day. And so, Mandy Patinkin does believe in her. Believe that she's a woman. That she is, recognize her. Does recognize her as an equal. But so, oh, that's figure maybe they get married. One often they get married. And I figured, oh, a das. I can't dump you for leave with you because I have a das. I can't dump her. I'm still in love with her. So it says, look, go back. Here's the rabbi. Another for the rabbis that we never consummated the marriage, and naturally it would be it's a legal marriage to women. So my dad says, okay, I'll go back. And of course, the end of the movie is when Barbra Streisand's character Yentl goes to America, goes to the United States, because it's different in the United States than it is in Eastern Europe. So that's how the movie ends, with her on the ship. And of course, the whole movie is a musical. Like Victoria was a musical, so is this one. And I think that Yentl and Tootise are the two better ones as cross-dressing films. After Yentl came out in 1980, 30 years ago, there hasn't been any other good cross-dressing films out. Every time they have a cross-dressing film, it's awful. It's really bad. And these three are the best ones. And after that, there hasn't been. And of course, I don't really go into a cross-dressing film, but these three are the best ones. And I think that Tootsie and Yentl are good. These are the performances, these are the writing, and of course Yentl with the songs in it. You hear Barbra Streisand singing throughout, a good chunk of the movie. So you have that going for it. So to hear Barbra Streisand sing in a movie is something to be. Even though I don't like Barbra Streisand's politics, hearing her sing is really the thing. And so those are my review for the cross-dressing films. Please like the video, subscribe to my page, and comment. Feel free to comment. If you disagree with me, or have something else to say about, or maybe suggest a topic I should talk about, or a movie or something, or even a television show, please comment on it. Thank you for watching.